There's a story about a young man who decided that one Easter he would have Easter at his house and he would make the traditional ham using his mother's famous recipe. And so he made this ham as his mother had taught him. And before he put it in the pan, he cut off both ends of the ham, just a little slice off of both ends. And his wife asked him, "Why did you cut that off?" And he goes, "It's part of the recipe. This is our tradition. This is what our mother did." And so as they were sitting down to eat Easter dinner, his wife asked her mother-in-law, "Why do you cut off both ends of the ham? How does that affect the flavor?" And she said, "I cut off both ends of the ham so that it would fit in the pan that I had." I tell this story because sometimes we consider important parts of our tradition in ways that they were never meant to be. We misunderstand them. And I think Lent quite often is the same way. We look at Lent as a series of church rules that we have to follow. And as a kid, we were told to do them. But we were never told the why we do those things. And so some of us have come to understand our Lenten tradition as nothing but making us bullheadedly determined to do what we need to do of our own accord, that we were tough enough to do this during Lent, that we could do without. We could prove that to our parents and to ourselves. That is not what Lent is about. And it is why after Lent, so many of us just went back to what we were doing before, because after all, Lent was over. The practices of Lent are meant to draw us closer to God. They are meant to draw us into the mystery of the life of Jesus that is meant to be our life. And so the prayer, the fasting, and the almsgiving of Lent, they all go together. We fast from something, and because we recognize that we cannot do that on our own, that it is meant to be difficult, and in difficult times we turn to God in prayer. So we have fasting and prayer. And almsgiving comes in because of giving up or fasting from what we have. We now have the capacity to give to others. Prayer, fasting, or fasting first, prayer, almsgiving. And so as you choose your fast this Lent, I ask you to consider a prayer to God for the strength to keep the fast, whatever that fast may be. And that as a result of what you have gained, that you can give to others. That is the prayer of Lent. And I'll put that on my YouTube channel with this video. If you want to pray the prayer that I wrote for this. So let's look at some examples. Let's say for your fast, you're going to give up food or drink or shopping. Something that you do under stress to relieve your stress. And so you pray to God for the strength to be able to do that. And as a result of that, you have more money. and that money can now be donated to some organization that helps others, or directly to someone that you know that needs help in these difficult times we're going through. It gives you an abundance. Your fasting brings about an abundance where you can give to others. This is how God takes our weakness, gives us strength, so that we have a more abundant life. We become new people because of our Lenten practice. Let's say during this Lent, you're going to fast from negativity. Let's say negativity is something you can get drawn into really easy. So you'll pray for the strength to walk away from negativity, and God will give you the abundance, the grace to be a more positive person, to look at the good in things, to become more grateful for what you have and what our world has and what our nation has offered you, to make everyone else feel more positive and more grateful is almsgiving. You are now moving from the negative and the dark to the good. Another example may be, let's say you're going to fast from games on your iPad or on your computer or social media. And so you pray that God will give you the strength to keep this fast. And in turn, your almsgiving is the giving of time to others. And when you give time to others, your bonds deepen. Your family grows closer. Time, giving time to someone who needs a visit or a letter or a phone call is almsgiving. It is a Lenten practice. Too often we would come up with three entirely different things, and there was a disconnect in those. And there shouldn't be, because fasting, prayer, and almsgiving should all be connected to draw us toward Easter, where we now have become a new person. We rise above those bad habits. We are renewed. So by opening this space for God to enter through prayer, to give to God our weaknesses, for many of us is new. Many of us think that we can only approach God with strength and perfection, and nothing could be further from the truth. God helps us in our weakness, in our failings. It is those that we give to God, so that God's grace may convert them into good, into strengths. It's not a bullheaded determination. That is not Lent. Lent is a letting go and letting God and becoming new. So this Lent, I invite you to take on a new attitude towards spiritual practice. I invite you to look at a weakness a fault and give it to God. And allow God to enter into that. And then to give you the grace to transform that weakness into almsgiving, to make our world a better place for everyone. May your Lent be fruitful. May your heart be refreshed. And may we come to Easter as new people, resurrected.